Hello, I'm Chris of Axiom Orthodontic Studios. I just thought that I would make a series of Q and A's based upon questions that I've gotten, questions that I've seen online, and answers that I've repeated many, many, many times. As a person with a speech impediment, I don't like repeating myself. So, am I to be offering advice? Well, I'm Chris. I've been in orthodontic labs all my life, small orthodontic labs. I've worked in them for close to 40 years now, dealing with hundreds of doctors. I've been in and out of practices. I also founded the Association of Orthodontic Laboratory Professionals, the first association of its kind nationwide, and now starting in Canada as well. I was the founder, and it was just a way to help others because my small lab, was one of the first small labs in the country that offered 100% digital workflow, and I was trying to teach other labs how to do the same. So that's who I am. So a big question that I hear uh, and see a lot from new orthodontists or dental students or new dentists is, should I remain an associate or should I open up my own practice? Uh, there are pros and cons to both. I mean, I've heard of nightmare scenarios of associates. I've heard of golden opportunities of associates. And the big thing to remember is that the grass is greener on the other side because it's fertilized with bullshit. It's as simple as that. There's a lot of pros to owning your own practice, but there's also a lot of cons. I mean, when I went from employee to owner, I mean, there were definite pros, but I went from having one boss to 20, 30 bosses because each of my accounts became one of my bosses. When I was an employee, I could leave at the end of each day. As an owner, I was basically on 24/7. Now, a lot of the cons can be circumvented if you just follow a pretty basic piece of advice, is learn business management. It's something that I didn't know, because back in the day when I first got into labs, you really didn't know how to run a business. All that you really needed to be was a good tech with a good accountant. When technology hit, we all really needed to learn how to become business owners. I mean, I'm talking basic, simple stuff. Like I'm with a group of owners of big labs, and they're talking about ROI. And I had no idea what they were talking about. I'm just nodding my head. And then during a break, I looked it up on my phone and, oh, return on investment. It's basic stuff that you would learn that any first year business major would know, which we didn't know. The secret of running a good practice or a lab is knowing how to run a business or getting the right people in place to run the business while you take care of things. Because I don't care if you're the best orthodontist, dentist, periodontist, etc., that there is. If you don't know how to run the business, you're going to struggle, and you might even fail. So another question that I hear a lot of is, should I expand my practice? Again, there's pros and cons. I think that a lot of the cons are circumvented if you answer that business question, if you know how to run a business and have the right people in the right place. If you're micromanaging everything, you're going to burn out and you shouldn't expand. I've known doctors with small offices with a few chairs, and they were extremely happy. Then I've known doctors with five, six practices, and they were happy. It just depends on really what you want. Um, and you really got to think everything through. Um, like, because the more money that you make and the more business that you get, the more headaches that you're going to have. Is is the business model in place, and is the structure of the business such that you can incorporate the extra business without causing all of the headaches that come along with it? Now the final question that I want to answer is one that I don't see a lot, but I think that it should be, because I think that it's important for all professionals in the industry, whether you're a dentist or an orthodontist, is what type of relationship should you have with your lab? I've been involved in both kinds of relationship, and there's two. One, I'm basically a tool. I get the prescriptions in, I fill them, I send them out, and then I bill at the end of each month. And hey, I'm fine with that. But just, I think that the best run practices that I've seen, they actually have a good working relationship with their lab, and their lab is actually a partner in their business. That's the way that I feel when I'm working with doctors, that they can bounce stuff off of me. If they encounter issues, they can come to me with the issues, and there's a lot of back and forth communication, where there's only a little bit of communication. But the fact is that I'm there for you, and my close to 40 years of experience is there for you. And most lab owners are going to be the same, where they'll work with you on stuff you because you were taught a certain way, and then you did your internship or your associateship, and you learned certain things. Whereas me, I've run the gambit. I've worked with a lot of different practices, with a lot of different doctors who have a lot of different ideas about various appliances and ways to treat. So if a problem comes up, I'm like, oh yeah, I've seen that before. Whereas with a lot of the doctors, they don't have that knowledge that I could have. I'm not a doctor. I've never claimed to be a doctor. I will never treat a case, even though I have the same technology as a lot of the aligner companies out there, and I was doing it before them. If a friend or a family member comes to me and wants something moved or something checked or something like that, I send them to the expert. I send them to you. If you have a question or if you have a concern about something, you can come to me. And that's it for the day. Part two I'll get more in depth on to other questions and answers that I've seen both on Quorum and on Facebook and the various things that I'm involved in. I just thought I would get it all down. I'm working on the book. The book will be done eventually, because I do have a background in journalism, so I'll get there eventually. But thanks for tuning in. You can sign up, and you'll get notices about new videos from my YouTube channel, or you can check out my website, axiomorthodonticstudios.com. Uh, Aloha.